Jesus will give light to everything.
Just make sure we're caught up.
Isn't that fascinating? We get just a glimmer, just a signpost of that magnificent light that's left behind. And I do believe, Sean, that there is a new revelation tied to the emergence of technology as we get closer to the second coming of Jesus Christ. In other words, did God plan for this to happen? I think so. I mean, photography is not invented until the 1840s. Seconda Pia takes a picture in 1898 and sees the shroud image in its negative. I've actually seen his camera. It was on these big glass plates. The exposures took 14 minutes and 20 minutes each. There was no power in the church, so they used generators for the flash photography of 1898. He was a lawyer. He was a Christian. He develops it, and never more appropriately, when he sees the face of Jesus in the negative, which is
it says that the James Webb Telescope is, it says, stunning new James Webb Telescope images reveal hidden stars being born.
Yeah, they will be. For sure. It's great PR, yeah.
Is there footage of that? How does it reveal that? Is there footage? Can we see it? Or
science, education, and
hold on, I'll read a little bit more of the article. It's on space.com. Stunning new James Webb Telescope images reveal hidden stars being born.
The last guy that was really well known for being a scientific genius was Stephen Hawking. Look how that turned out.
Exponentially grown. Throughout the day, we started showing you live shots from in there.
Has a picture.
Getting ready to witness.
Just the way it is.
It's something really special to be
propaganda for the win.
Something like this.
Is it really propaganda? I mean, I guess you could say it is. Yeah. Sure. Where's your spacesuit?
It's amazing. People from all around the world.
I'll wear it whenever I have to go to.
They're studying the star forming region called W51, W51.
As I said, like, yes, we just have to imagine
Revealing hidden stars were invisible to other telescopes. That were invisible to other telescopes.
They're doing it right in front of your face.
That's kind of like, remember when they diagnosed us with Lyme disease? And they said they had to use telescopes that they didn't have before, or
Do you think legit science
whatever you call those things.
yeah, if there was a
Microscopes.
if there was a kinetic element to it.
Yeah, they said only 2 labs in the United States could do the proper testing.
The top of that launch window. So
So now it's saying the same thing about stars, that it's just new kind of telescope technology that were invisible to other telescopes. They were able to use the $10 billion space telescope to determine that the stars in W51 began to form within the last million years. If this makes these stellar infants sound ancient, consider that our middle-aged star, the Sun, is around 4.6 billion years old. This. Sure. It's an infrared image highlighting stars, dark clouds, and scattered light from ionized hill region of W51. Image credit Ginsberg and Yo. You, like Yoo-hoo? Yoo-hoo? Remember Yoo-hoo? Do they still make that stuff? The chocolate milk stuff? Look how pretty that is. I'd blow that up on my wall. That's really cool. Look at that. Sugar daddy. You know what? Speaking of sugar daddy, that has to be the dumbest candy ever made. Sugar daddies. I hate those things. You know, I haven't had them in years. I don't know if they still make them, or maybe they're new and improved, but I don't know. I always hated them and thought it was a really stupid candy.
Maybe after this, they'll do that.
We're going for all. It's in the name of their
We all
capital
think.
integrity. representing
and I
humility
want it to be
and a
shown.
professional.
And by the way, I want to say this: the shroud doesn't belong to the Catholic Church.
So whenever it'll be
It
nighttime,
belongs
over
to
there.
the unified church.
What they see.
It belongs to
Just
every
leveraging
believer in Jesus
everything we've
Christ.
learned so
So the Crimson
far.
Desert.
So yeah, it did not come into. And Barry Schwartz made this clear. I was the editor of a journal, academic journal, which I summarize in my
How
book.
many hours am I
And
on
Barry made that very clear. It is not a Catholic relic. So many people, especially what you might call Protestants or evangelical Christians, they don't want to know anything about the shroud because, oh, that's a Catholic relic. No, it didn't come into the hands of the Catholic Church until the 1980s. I don't believe the Catholic Church would have ever allowed it to be studied. Remember, it was still in private family hands in 1978 when the Shroud of Turin Research Project studied it. The family that owned the shroud allowed it.
Yeah, I'm ready to see
And
this.
that's not my opinion, that was Barry Schwartz's
How does it
opinion,
know where to land?
who I now believe, having met everyone.
Is there like a hot spot on the sun?
All right, thank you.
I'd say like on
So
the
if you have
opposite
this
side.
great tool, why not make it
On the
available?
launch
Like the other
system
side?
that you just reported that they cleared.
That's a great question.
They believe, they're convinced this is an
What else are I-
instrumentation
Yes.
failure.
Math, yeah.
So
You know?
there are 2 batteries on
And
the
why
last.
not use it?
The
Yeah,
last
so I want to say that, and there are amazing Catholic people out there, like my friends in Lithonia, who have great exhibits who I partner with. I mean, there are people out there who are trying to change this, but they're all dying, Sean. I mean, I spoke at the annual scientific, it was at the Augustine Institute, the International Shroud of Turin conference. I was honored to be asked to speak, and everybody there is much older than us. So all of these scientists are beginning to die, and their knowledge is dying with it. So that's why I'm doing everything in my power to raise up this information. Thank you. Thank you for letting me bring this information. I was a skeptic, I'm not now, and I'm also thrilled that I'm not the only Bible scholar that's believing it. My Dr. Father, Craig Evans, who's the finest Jesus scholar in the English-speaking world, he has 700 publications on Jesus, without a doubt believes in the authenticity of the shroud. Archaeologist Scott Stripstein, who has the largest archaeological dig in Israel, without a doubt believes that the shroud is authentic. Paul Foster, the greatest Bible scholar in Britain, Martin Ehrman told me that, believes that the shroud is authentic. What's weird though is so many Bible scholars are agnostic about the shroud because they're minimalists and they've never really looked into the data.
And that's important. They're in very
They
small
stay in their academic silos and they don't get out of it. And so I'm
16
also
minutes
speaking
inside
to all
this
those Bible
window
scholars out there.
that
Come
they
on,
cannot
man.
launch. And
Bro,
these are because
we've got more
of
evidence for the resurrection. We have scientific evidence. And what's cool, so we've traveled, Christian thinkers, we've been on a tour. We did the display at Prestonwood. Tens of thousands of people showed up at my church. So I thought, man, like the Burrelson stuff, we want to share. We're going to take this everywhere. So whether it's WEF, whether it's Lubbock,
Which one are you doing
Texas,
for
whether
that?
it's
Are you
Nashville,
doing that one
Tennessee,
for?
I'm going to be at
Oh yeah,
a
they
church
like
this
that
weekend,
one.
with a 50
Yeah, that one's always fun
never
for
charge
a
a dime for it.
And we had done that one. I think it was about 5th grade. We had done that one. We had so much fun, and we made horns and.
Statue of Jesus. It's just
That was fun.
beautiful. We have what you just saw. We have the actual shroud, and we have the Isaiah scroll. We have other things as well.
No, you got the
And
best
people,
guys in the world doing this. They got 50 years of precedent that they're building off of. This is gonna go off fine. I mean, like, I would assume so.
So now I'm listening to.
I mean, these
This
guys,
one?
they know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had a one long horn, one big eye. I come Mr. Shaking in the city.
It looks like a purple people eater to me.
It was a one-eyed, one-horned,
Flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people eater.
one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. Sure looks strange to me. When it came down to earth and he lit in the tree, I said,
Mr. Purple People Eater, don't eat me.
I heard him say in a voice so rough.
I wouldn't meet you 'cause you're too rough.
It was a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me. I said, Mr. Purple People Eater, what's your line? He said, eating purple people and it sure is fine. But that's not the reason that I came to land.
I wanna get a job in a rock and roll band.
Well, bless my soul, rock and roll, flying purple people eater. Pigeon toed, underclothed, flying purple people eater.
He wears short shorts.
Pretty little people eater, what a sight to see.
Oh,
And then he swung from the tree and he lit on the ground. And he started to rock, really rocking around. It was a crazy ditty with a swinging tune.
Sing a bop bop a boop a lap a loom bam boom.
Well, bless my soul, rock and roll,
Flying purple people eater.
pigeon toad, undergrowth,
Flying purple people eater.
I like short shorts.
Flying purple people eater.
what a sight to see. But then he went on his way and then nobody you know. I saw him last night on a TV show. He was blowing it out,
Really knocking them dead. Playing rock and roll music through the morning is fed.